Friendly gestures. My mind was drifting. It was chilly out, but it didn't bother me in the least. I had a nice buzz going, and the poison that I'd been pouring down my throat for the past few hours had done its job. I meandered out of the bar after being kicked out, and managed to slump myself against the brick wall underneath a streetlight. I saw the familiar orange glow illuminating a pair of lips and knuckles a few feet away from where I'd firmly planted myself. "Hey buddy, can I bum a smoke, please?" The figure walked towards me, the spotlight above casting shadows on his face.
"Sure thing. Only 'cause you asked nicely."
He pulled a bright yellow roll-your-own pack from his pocket and flipped the top, revealing a lone, neatly formed cigarette. "Aw, man, I don't want to take your last one," I said, shaking my head vigorously. He gave a warm smile and reassured me.
"It's all right. I'm just about done smoking for the night anyway."
We made small talk and exchanged first names. It was already fairly late when they kicked me out of the bar, and I was having a hard time keeping track of what time it was. The sweet, thick smoke filled my lungs and kind of made me feel lightheaded. I finished up the cigarette, carefully put it out on the ground, and stumbled over to the trash and threw it away. My new friend smiled at me again and looked down at his watch.
"Well, it's getting late. I should be going,"
he said, all the while fixated on his timekeeper. "Hey buddy, I really appreciate the smoke. Maybe we can hit the bars sometime soon. Wanna give me your number?" I sheepishly grinned at him, wobbling about, trying to fetch my phone out of my pocket. I was having a brutally difficult time though, and then when I looked down, I realized my hand had gone numb, and I had lost control of it. I think something's wrong with my hand. I stuttered and slurred, the words fumbling out of my mouth, half declarative and half inquisitive. The stranger frowned at me, took a final glance at his watch, and stated,
"You have 5 minutes. Goodbye."
As he calmly walked off into the darkness, I slowly fell over backwards, my ass hitting the pavement with an audible thud. I tried with all my might and articulated a single word. "Why?" He paused, looked back over his shoulder, and simply said,
"Because you asked nicely."
And that, ladies and gents, was Friendly Gestures. A short story about, if nothing else, why not to trust strangers giving you things that you plan to ingest in some way. I was actually quite the fan of this creepypasta and thought it was written pretty well. Some parts of it were a little difficult to piece together, the way they were written in borderline run-on sentences, but once I read through a few times, I was able to figure it all out. This was not at all cliche and was pretty original from the beginning. The surprise ending was a pretty good one, and not one that I really saw coming from a mile away like some creepypasta surprise endings. It was a good length for the story it told as well. It was short, but it didn't need to be any longer to get the creepy ending across that it was inevitably leading up to. Overall, I was pretty happy with this creepypasta and would recommend it to narrators and readers or listeners alike. I want to thank my fellow narrator and friend DimensionBucket for recording a few lines for me to help convey the strangeness of the creepy man giving out killer cigs. The one complaint I have is that I'm not really sure why this guy would do something like this unless he's just a stone cold killer and psycho who does this kind of stuff for fun. After all, I mean, in the story, when asked why he did it, it was because the drunk man asked him nicely. Hardly a reason to poison and murder someone unless you are a psycho, which he obviously was. Anywho, if you like this pasta, leave a like, and for more creepypasta narrations and reviews, please subscribe to the Spooks WV channel. Also, leave a comment if you have a recommendation for a creepypasta you'd like to hear narrated and reviewed here on this channel. This has been Spooks WV with another episode of Spooks Reviews Creepypastas, and until next time, as always, have a spooky night.